Your learning goal is that you can demonstrate skill in gesture drawing. Gesture drawing is another way of saying expressive movement. Gesture drawings are quick drawings to show the body position that a person is in. We're going to use circles and ovals to represent the body parts or the bones of the body, and they may overlap at the knee and the elbow, but it is super important that all the body parts are in proportion, so you can't have arms that are too long for the legs or a head that's too big for the body. When we get to part 2 of this video, we're going to go over our quick gesture drawings with a darker contour line so we can see the clothing and the face and the hair. But that's not going to be for today. That will be for part 2. For part 1 today, I want you to practice using gesture drawings to come up with bodies in different positions. So follow along with the video and let's do a few together. I start by drawing an oval for the torso and a circle for the head. I'm leading my torso forward because this person is going to be running, and when you run, you don't keep your body straight up and down. I'm using a long, thin oval for the upper arm and the lower arm, and a circle for the hand. And the same with the legs, a long, thin oval for the upper leg and the lower leg, and a smaller oval for the foot. I like to throw in a little bit of hair just so I know which way the person's moving. Okay, let's start another one. You can pause the video between these and catch up. And this person's going to be doing a split on the floor. So you notice it takes 2 ovals for the leg and 1 for the foot. 2 ovals for the arm and 1 for the hand. This next person is going to be doing a handstand. So the head is at the bottom of the torso. And now let's do the arms. I'm going to have a little bend in the elbow, and then the hands are on the floor. The 2 ovals of the legs meet at the knee. That way you can bend them if you want to have a slight bend in the knee. Gravity would pull the hair downward. This next gesture drawing is going to be of a person leaning back slightly and bouncing a ball off of their knee. Maybe it's a soccer ball. So one knee is up very high with a bend, and the other foot needs to be on the ground. For balance, I'll put 2 arms out to the side. I think I am making the second arm way too long. This next person's a little different. They're going to be doing a back bend. So I have an arch in the back. It almost looks like a bean shape for the torso. There are bent knees on one side and a bent elbow on the other side, very close to the head, with the hands facing the feet. And now I'm just adding a second arm and a second leg following the same shape, with the hair hanging down. That's the tricky one. We're only going to practice one more together, and this person's going to be kicking a ball. So I think I'll have 1 foot on the ground and the other leg lifted up so the foot can be kicking at a ball. Now he might be chasing after that ball like soccer, so he's running with his hands forward for balance, hair going back. And those are gesture drawings, and for today, that's all you need to practice. Pause the video right here and try to draw all 6 of these, and if you would like to make up some other gestures of your own, you're more than welcome to add on to it. Come back next week and start part 2. Welcome back to our gesture drawing project, and on part 2, we're going to be creating an impossible build. That is a build of people, between 4 and 10 people, and each person is in a different body position, stacked one on top of another in a very impossible way. I'm sharing some examples from students who have done this project in the past and were quite successful with making the people large enough, and sometimes they have matching outfits or a stage background, or they're balancing on a ball, and each person should be in its own unique pose or body gesture. You can include other things besides humans in your picture, and you can make it as silly as you want. I'm going to start by holding my paper the tall, vertical way and create a ground at the very bottom. And now I think I'll make a ball. It would be funny to have everybody balancing on top of one basketball. There we go. Okay, my first person's going to be doing a handstand, so I want to make sure my hand oval is touching the ball. So the same way that we did the gesture drawings last week, you're going to start your picture by using ovals for the individual body parts, but they've got to be in proportion, meaning the size of your torso can't be too big for the size of your head, and your legs can't be too long for the length of your arms. So everything needs to look like a real human. You do not need to do the exact same poses that I'm doing because I want everybody's to turn out different. So you can watch mine first and start to get ideas and then come up with something very unique for your impossible build. I'm thinking of having somebody sitting on the first person's knee. So I've got a torso and a head, a bent knee. And let's see, I think I made that too long. I'm going to go back and make 2 ovals there instead of one. One for the upper arm and an oval is for the lower arm. And then I'll put a circle or an oval in for the hand. And now I've got to make my next leg show up. So I'll kick it out straight like that. We're going to come back later and turn these gesture drawings into actual contour line drawings of people wearing clothing. But this is a great start for any time you're trying to make a position of a body before you do the actual clothing. This person's going to be dancing on one toe, like a ballerina, balancing on one toe. I'm making this person smaller, and I don't really mean to because some kids start getting smaller and smaller and smaller as they work their way up the page, and it looks kind of weird. But we can assume this is a very young child, and maybe the large one at the bottom is an adult. But I'm going to try not to make my next person smaller because that is a common problem that I see a lot of students doing, getting tinier and tinier and tinier as they work their way up the page. Remember our back bend person from last week? Well, that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to let the hands and feet of the back bend person be on the outstretched arms of the child. Not an easy thing to do, but you might want to give it a try because it does make it funny. 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to try to fit one more person in. So I think I'll have the person go between the hand and the foot of person 1 and person 2. So let's see. I'll start with the torso and the head. And now my outstretched arms are going to grab onto that foot, and my bent leg is going to be standing on that hand. And I think I'll bring the other arm also to the foot. Okay, I'm done with all of my gestures and I'm ready to move on to the next step. The next step is going to be outlining with a black marker. It does not need to be a permanent marker, but a thin marker is what you should look for. I'm going to use the black marker to draw the clothing onto these oval people. I'll make up t-shirts and shorts, or maybe you want long pants or skirts and dresses, whatever you have decided. You can just make that up on top of the oval skeleton. And then when you trace the ovals, don't actually trace each oval. Just trace the outline of the leg and the outline of the arm, but don't trace in where the 2 ovals overlap near the knee or elbow. Be sure to trace the shoes too, and the hair, and you can even use the marker to add a face. You can see there's a lot of pencil marks under my marker that need to be erased. So as soon as I finish with one person, I'm going to take my eraser and clean it all up and see if anything needs to be added or fixed at that point. Now I will go back and use my marker and add clothing to the second person. I think I'll try to make all of these people have the same type of shorts and t-shirts, maybe even color them in the same, like they're a little team doing an acrobatic performance here. Notice every time I'm finished outlining with the marker, I take my eraser and clean up all the stray marks that were underneath. You don't have to do the hair in black marker. You could decide you want to have blonde hair, or brown, or red even. I'm all finished outlining in marker and erasing my pencil, so now I can start coloring it with whatever I have at home. Please take a picture of your finished impossible build and send it to me on our art team.